Hello, and welcome to the Dungeon Mester, the show where I'm a mess, and so can you. Today, I'm going to be painting these two guys right here. They're very similar, so I wanted to kind of do them side by side, and hopefully I've worked out my focus issues. I moved the rest of the guys back, so hopefully my camera will focus on what's in the foreground instead of what's way back in the background. So this little guy's going to be green. This little guy's going to be purple. They both have a bandana on and similar pants. It's actually the same miniature, just two different poses, or same character. But I'm going to paint them slightly differently to differentiate them. So let's go ahead and get started with some green. I have already. Oh, let me turn my little light on here. I don't know if this light helps or not. I've got a little light here that I can use to kind of light the miniature from this side. Hopefully that helps you to see what I'm doing. So yeah, I've already mixed my colors out here in my wet palette. And yeah, I'm gonna do kind of the same process I did yesterday, just kind of painting the green onto his skin in nice even coats, allowing the zenithal highlighting to show through. That green is actually really, really thin. I'm going to add a little bit more green to this to thicken it up. You see that it's very hard to tell that that's a green, so I'm gonna mix some thicker green in with my thinned green and hope that that helps me. I remember this green being really difficult to work with. Like, you have to put it on too thick and it doesn't feel, just kind of slips and slides around. It's like painting with slime. Remember that from last time, but I didn't think of it before I decided to use it. So this guy does not have a lot of his colored plumage showing. He's got his tail, he's got his two side flippers, and he's got the top of his head. And aside from that, there's not really much showing. He's got pants and a jacket, so I don't have a whole lot of opportunity to do anything to really show off this green, but I'm going to do what I can. He is mostly a clothed penguin, or dohar. You'll see me using my pinky on my painting hand to anchor, and that's so that I get more control. If my one hand moves, the other hand moves with it, and that's what you want, because you want all the movement to be right here, and you want the two hands to be kind of relatively still, or still relative to each other. Yeah, so that's all going to be white. I did do some thinking about what I want to do with eyebrows. And I think that I landed on, well, I looked at some pictures today, looked at some pictures of actual penguins. None of them were green, but I'm still going to draw my inspiration from them. Also, none of them have eyebrows, so we're just kind of making this up as we go along. But what I did notice is their eyes are black. Since they have black eyes, anytime you have one color and it's just used in one place, it makes it hard to recognize. Your eye doesn't pick up on that color. So I'm going to use the black. I'm actually not going to use black for the same reason that I don't use true white. I'm going to use Necromancer's Cloak, which is this darker gray color here. It looks like black. Your eye will read it as black. And I'm going to use that as his eyes, and we're going to try that as the eyebrows. Will it work? Who knows? We'll figure it out when we put the paint on. Okay. I also decided, it's a little bit light on the side of his face here. I also decided that I wanted to darken the beak. I used a yellow for their beaks and their feet, and that yellow is just too light compared, like next to the white. You can see here, he's got a yellow beak and yellow feet, but the beak really just blends in with the white of his face, and I don't like it. So I got a rust orange. It's actually dry rust, and we're going to be using that for the beak and the feet. So let's see, we've got the fish on the side over here, but underneath the fish we've got this coat, we've got the pants, and all of that would need to be painted first. So I kind of decided on the pants I was going to do a blue and a yellow. The pants are striped, and the stripes are clearly delineated, which I really appreciate. So I'm going to start here. Whenever the sculptor puts lines on their miniature, it just makes it so much easier to paint those lines. Now, if you wanted to ignore the lines, you'd have a hard time doing that, because they are obviously lines. But it's much easier to paint lines when the lines are sculpted than it is when the lines are not sculpted. There's a blue. I'm going to skip one, and I'll do another blue here. This is all very dark because it didn't get sprayed much with my with the white. This is a fat chunk of blue here. Comes all the way up to there. I like to think about what colors I'm going to use before I start putting them on. So I know that this blue is going to show up next to the yellow. I know that the yellow and blue are opposite colors, so that's always a good combo. I know that I'm going to do kind of a brown for the jacket. I know his skin is green. I don't want to use a lot of colors that are too close together. That's the problem I ran into with the yellow for the beak next to the white. They're too close, so they don't really, the yellow doesn't show up. It just kind of fades into the white, and that's not what I want. So I'm fixing that, but I do try to think about it beforehand. Now, sometimes you do want the colors to blend, like in a lot of natural creatures, a lot of nature with trees, or whether it's like creatures with fur. You definitely want those to, oh no! You definitely want those to blend, to kind of fade into each other. So they put stripes, but they're not even. So if I skip one and paint blue, I'm back here next to this other blue. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyways, because I like the blue against the green. It tends to show up better than yellow against green. And it's the back of the miniature. So I did not think about that before I started painting. I just assumed that they would go, that it would pace itself evenly. All right, we'll make it work. So now I've just got to get my yellow in. Just a little bit of touch up of blue right here. Again, trying not to put on my coat too thick because I do want the black to show through a bit to provide that shadow and light. All right, let's get the yellow on here. The black really shines through that yellow. Shines is probably not the right word. There's some details here that I'm having trouble making out. I'm actually going to get I use a magnifying glass most of the time when I'm painting, and it helps me to get to see those little details. Oh yeah. So this yellow paint is also kind of thick, and it's bunching up where it touches the overcoat. So I'm kind of using my paintbrush to just reabsorb that. I'm going to have to do several coats of the yellow in order to make this work, because it just goes on real thin. But that's okay. Painting is about patience. I do want to keep it from bunching up, so I'll dry my paintbrush off. I've got a little paper towel down here that I use to just dry it off every once in a while, and then I can put it against those puddles and reabsorb them. There's a puddle right there that I didn't notice because I didn't have it under the magnifying glass. I can also see that there's some patchwork here, and it looks like there's two different patches, one on top of another. So I'm going to want to figure that out at some point. Okay, I should be able to go back over this yellow now. If you put your paint on thin enough, it dries pretty fast. Right now, that yellow looks almost identical to the green of his body. Or her body, I don't know. Can't really tell with penguins. I'm going to let that yellow dry a bit. I'm going to go ahead and move to the white. We always like to paint from the inside out. So kind of start with your deeper areas. So definitely paint the skin is usually first, because skin is usually the deepest area. And then you can paint the clothes on top of the skin. And or in this case feathers, if my skin or feather color gets a little bit onto the clothes that are over it, it's no big deal, because I'm going to paint those later anyways. But this is much easier than trying to sneak your brush past the guards to the inside spaces. Though I probably should have done his eyeballs before I did this. Because I'm going to have to sneak past these whites to get in there. There's actually a little bit of green on his forehead that I just noticed. Right there. I don't know if you can see that. Let's go ahead and try the The eyes. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to come back with the white. That's okay. Sometimes you gotta make a couple passes. I'm also finding that my brush is not staying very pointy. Okay. Now I don't want to go with the white right away because that black or really dark gray has to dry. But I am gonna try the eyebrows. It's kind of a cartoony thing to do the eyebrows in black, but these are kind of cartoony miniatures, so I don't feel that it's out of place. Okay, let's get in there. Let's go back to this yellow. Okay, now you can start to really see it. Got a couple of coats on there. And the yellow starting to show up as yellow and not green. I think I'm actually not going to paint his jacket today because it's going to be a brown. Oh, he's got a vest on under his jacket too, so I've got to consider that. His jacket's going to be a brown, but I want to use the same brown for all of their jackets. The Dohar are merchants, and when they're on their own, they dress in really bright colors and clashing colors and gaudy colors, and I thought the pants would fit for that. But when they're trying to blend in, they tend to wear more muted colors, so I wanted to do their jackets in a brown and kind of make them look like they blend in. So if I'm waiting on the jacket, that means the fish is also going to have to wait. But I am going to touch up this green over here. And just, if it doesn't look like you want after a layer, you just put another layer on. Touch up the green right here. Better to do several thin layers than to do one thick layer for several reasons. You got more control with the thin layers, but you also don't end up with paint clumping and drying and wrinkling and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. This is just stuff you learn with time. If you're painting a miniature and it isn't great, it isn't the way you want it, that's normal. That's what every painter goes through when they're learning to do this, and you just got to stick with it. It's just like anything. You can learn these techniques, but you can watch other people do them, you can read about them, but until you actually start to practice them, doesn't mean anything. It's like driving a car. I could read 50 books on driving a car, but if I haven't actually been behind the wheel before, I'm not going to know what I'm doing. You just need repetition. Put some more yellow here. There we go. This one took multiple coats. I think I'm on 3 coats now. But that's starting to look good. It's there's more differentiation between the yellow and the green in real life than you can see on the screen. I haven't got my colors quite dialed in the way I want them yet. So, okay, let's go back over his eyes with the white. All of this paint that's on my wet palette, by the way, if that color was there in the last video, it's not been like refreshed or anything. I just stirred it up. That's the whole point of the wet palette. And I think I just painted over the black. I can't get the white to come off. So we'll add a little bit more black. There we go. Okay, I like how that looks. Looking like a happy little penguin pirate. Now this guy's green, so I'm going to do his accent colors in purple. And the purple guy, I'm going to do his accent colors in green, so they're kind of going to be the backwards of each other. They're going to be wearing the same pants, I think, although I might do like a red instead of the yellow on this guy, on this guy, just to switch it up a little bit. First, actually, let me check out this new orange and see how I like it. Let's try it on his feet. Oh, I think that's gonna work. Yeah, just stands out better. Might take a couple of coats. Let's try his beak. Yeah. That's it. Watching these penguin videos today, I was surprised at how many different kinds of penguins there are. And they have all different colorations. So some of them have some bright yellow. I think they're like the emperor penguins. Some bright yellow eyebrows on those guys. Those guys have eyebrows. Some of them have the black comes up to under their chin and their face is black. And some of them have this cool like black that comes around and then down between their eyes. So their cheeks are white, but like their nose is black. I don't know. Most of them do have this kind of an orangey color to their beaks and their feet though. So I felt like that made a little bit more sense. Now, I'm a little bit concerned on how that's going to work on this guy because I chose to paint him orange, but it is a different orange I'm using, so I'm going to see how it works right now. That's all right. I actually kind of like that I can see the yellow through it. So let's get up here and get his beak. I just accidentally put some orange on my fish. Clean off my brush and reabsorb. Scrub, scrub, scrub. There we go. It's gone. If you can get your mistakes, little ones like that, while they're still wet, which is another reason you want to thin your paint, makes it much easier to fix on the fly so you don't have to go back and paint over. Yep. All right, I think that works. Now, let's do his eyes while we've got him here. There we go. Sneaking past the guards. Those eyebrows. Eyebrows come way down on the sides. That's like Groucho Marx. There we go. I think that's pretty good. Come back and fix this guy. You know what I forgot to do on this guy is his pink dots on his chest. My brush is coming apart and it's got like can't see it. It's got a little hair hanging off of it. That little hair is gonna hold paint. I gotta pull that off. Okay. Let's do his dots. I'm gonna do one right here. And then I'm gonna do one here and one here. Just make it a unique little pattern. For whatever reason. Makes me happy. Alright, let's do his beak. I'll do his feet first. I do actually really like the yellow showing through the orange. You really only see it on their feet. You don't see it on the beak. painted. Come on, buddy. Oh, I watched those videos on penguins today, and they have some strange sounds. Sometimes they sound like somebody recorded a goose or a car starting up and then put it on a record to scratch. Just weird sounds. Sometimes they just sound like somebody rolling their R's. Or gargling in the back of their throat. It's weird. All that to say, I don't know what these Dohar should sound like. Alright. My orange is close to his eyes, and the orange is still wet. And I'm not going to be able to paint those eyes till that orange dries, so let me go to his eyebrows, which I had previously painted pink. And you can't really tell that they're eyebrows. I'm going to paint the eyebrows this dark gray. It's called Necromancer's Cloak. It's the name of the color. I did not. That was my wife asking if I fed the pig. I did not feed the pig. Okay, let's see if I can get these eyes now. Okay. Might have enough paint to do this. That's pretty good. Actually, I think I like that. Looks kind of smug with his eyebrows up like that. All right. I think I'm going to come back and finish do the purple one next. But I'm going to save that for another video. So if you stuck around to the end, I appreciate you hanging out with me. And I'll see you next time when we paint this guy purple. Okay, bye.